All right, good evening. Welcome to a city council meeting for March 11th, 2025. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Adler.
Here.
Councilmember Joanette.
Present.
Councilmember Rubio. Here. Vice Mayor Veros.
Here.
Mayor Armstrong.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please be seated. All right, what's next on the agenda?
Item 3, announcements. 3.1, changes and additions to the agenda. We have none this evening. Item 3.2, if you'd like to speak under public comment or regarding an agenda item, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room and bring it forward. Item 4, public comment.
Okay, at this time, the public is permitted to address the city council on any non-agenda item related to the business of the city council or items that are on the consent calendar, including a request to pull an item from the consent calendar and the reason why you wish to pull the item or items. Please note that the decision to remove the item from the consent calendar is strictly at the discretion of the city council. You can speak on requests for future agenda items. And also, this is your time to speak on any of the special presentations tonight that will be occurring during item number 6. We have 2 special presentations tonight. You can also speak on any items that are not on the agenda, but are within the city council's jurisdiction. So public comment is now open. And do we have any speaker cards?
We do. We have 4 speaker cards. The first one is from Anshul Kale.
Okay. Joel, good evening.
Respected Mayor Mark Armstrong and City Council members.
Let's make sure, is the speaker on?
Is the mic.
Okay, yeah, pull it down a little bit. Thank
Can
you.
you
Go
hear me
ahead.
now? Okay, thank you. Respected Mayor Mark Armstrong and City Council members, good evening and namaste. My name is Anshul Kale, and I'm a proud resident of San Ramon. Today, I want to briefly share the recently concluded 18th Annual Health for Humanity Yogathon, a nationwide event organized by Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, also known as HSS. That's a nonprofit social cultural Hindu organization with over 235 branches in 164 cities across 34 states, including California. HSS promotes Hindu value education and community service, including food drives and shelter meal programs. This year, the Yogathon ran from January 18th to February 2nd, 2025. Sun salutation is a traditional yogic practice that integrates breathing and movement for holistic well-being. Since its inception in 2007, participants from 43 states, regardless of gender, race, or faith, have joined this initiative, making it a true DEI event. It was recognized in the Congressional Record in 2017 and in 2012. The Let's Move initiative by First Lady Michelle Obama partnered with HSS. This year, 7,122 participants from Contra Costa, including HSS members, yoga studios, schools, and organizations, collectively performed 135,667 sun salutations. Students from 25 schools contributed over 47,000, and 3 local organizations completed 5,776. We also hosted the Train the Trainer sessions for PE teachers, school staff, ensuring ongoing yoga practice for students. Recognizing the community-wide benefits of this initiative, leaders and elected officials nationwide have expressed their appreciation, and the Yogathon has received numerous proclamations from mayors, governors, congress members, and senators, including those from Contra Costa. On behalf of HSS, thank you for your support and recognition of the Health for Humanity Yogathon. Dhanyavad, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. And this goes for all our speakers this evening. While we encourage your comments, unfortunately, state law prevents the city council from discussing items that are not on the meeting agenda. The city council does take them very seriously, however, and if appropriate, staff will follow up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Donna Brown.
Great. Good evening. Second time today.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Armstrong, Vice Mayor Veros, distinguished council members, and fellow residents of San Ramon. I'm Donna Brown, a resident of San Ramon for nearly 20 years and a member of the Leadership San Ramon Valley Class of 2025, best class ever. My address is 108 Sedgefield Court, San Ramon. I'm proud to share that our San Ramon Leadership Class project is focused on raising awareness of the 988 Lifeline throughout our valley. The 988 Lifeline is for anyone in mental health distress, offering immediate support via text or call, available 24/7. It is an essential resource for anyone in need of help, whether they're experiencing a mental health crisis or simply need someone to talk to. It is also a resource for those who know someone in crisis and need resources to help their friend or loved one. We've had productive meetings with your city council, your city manager, Chief Carlson, the Parks and Rec, and Public Works teams to partner with the city of San Ramon in creating permanent signs and promoting social media awareness throughout the community of 988. We all know to call 911 in case of emergency, but we want our community to also know that they can text or call 988 if they or someone they know is in a mental health crisis. We believe that most city leaders and first responders are fully aware of the value of 988, but are our students, our families, our local business owners and residents aware? We don't think they are. Some students even have it on the back of their ID cards and are not even aware of what that is for. So this is a big part of why we've done this with our class. We are planning a 988 awareness event here in San Ramon on May 15th at 5 p.m. Location TBD. Our local assembly member, my boss, Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, who authored the assembly bill that implemented the federal legislation establishing 988 here in California, will be speaking, and our entire community is invited. We hope you can all attend. I have some 988 assets at the back of the room for anyone who would like to take them and share with your friends. In addition, I'll leave my card so anyone can reach out to me and get additional resources. I know they appeared at my classmates appeared at the town of Danville, and they seem to have taken a lot of the resources that were supposed to be in the box. So I'd be happy to get you things if you would like those. I want to thank the San Ramon Valley Education Foundation and the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce for helping us amplify 988 on their social media channels and in their newsletters. And I strongly encourage everyone here today to get on social media, use their area of influence, and reach out to your network to share the value of 988. The more it is known in the San Ramon Valley, the more our residents will utilize this tremendous resource. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to working together to ensure that this vital resource is accessible to everyone in the San Ramon Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Okay, next speaker, please.
Johannes Tillahan.
Evening, Johannes.
Mr. Mayor, council members, Steve, Martin, how are you? The good news is I'm here. The bad news is I spent 3 hours writing my speech to be organized like everyone else. I ran out of my office, left it on the desk. So it's going to be jumbled up. My message is going to be clear, though. You all asked us to participate, to give feedback, and this is my way of participating in the meeting. I hope you'll take it in a good way. I want to comment about yesterday's meeting on the city council, on the the meeting we had on Government 101 with the parks. It was a really amazing meeting. Unbelievably. I mean, the amount of things that we learned where the people were just nothing but positive things. But at the end, I don't want to use the word it went wrong, but at the end, not their fault. They have nothing to do with everyone started speaking. The whole thing. We don't leave till like, I don't know, 9:30. We left late. We're supposed to be leaving like 8:15. And the discussion was only on one thing. And the discussion was, why doesn't the city inform us of everything that's going on? And Joanne was here. She was great. She really was great, Steve. She said, well, we send out newspaper, we do this, we do this. No one even let her speak. It just boiled. And it was just everyone. It was a huge room, too, a lot of people. And I said, well, listen, I'm going to inform the council, the mayor. Instead of the first day, Mr. Mayor, you and Steve, I wish you guys were here yesterday. It was eye-opening. It was eye-opening. So my advice is, I don't think anybody will engage in coming to the meetings and things like that. And Joan explained it in such a way I learned so much. And the way she explained it is, Johannes, she said, when people are happy with their city and it runs well and they have no problem, they will never show up. So on my way home, there were a group of people, our neighbors, and I walked over and asked them, do you guys attend? I said, no, why? Well, the city runs well. What input do we want to have? And that hit me. And then I said, what if crime goes up? Would you show up at the council? And they said, oh, hell no, we won't show up at the council. We'll show up on the police chief's house. So to me, it gave me the feedback. I think the emptier it is, the better it is, the city runs. But the point is that none of them ever feels informed. You got to find a solution to this. I know she reports to you, Steve. I know you trust what I say, but do what Ronald Reagan did. Trust but verify. My advice is bring her to office and give me your opinion about the Monday meeting.
Thank
Give me
thank
one
you, Johan.
second. So that's my feedback to you. I hope you'll take it in a positive way. Don't want to keep up everything that way it went yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Next speaker, please.
Shirag Kathrani.
Evening, Shrug.
Hello, Mayor Mark Armstrong and the council members. So I did attend this Go 101 program, and there was a lot of learning over here and what everybody's roles and everything is. One of the most important thing I thought we are lacking is like the Go 101 program, all the slides and everything should be publicly available regardless of they attend the class or not. And we probably have a video recording of those Go 101 classes, which we publish for the residents, so it doesn't need to take the 101 classes, which are limited by seats, because a lot of people are waiting to get on those classes as well. And other point was, that was my thought process, and I did mention that as my comments, and I wanted to bring it in front of you guys. Other point, last time you mentioned that there was a recording of the Planning Commission appointee meeting, and I don't see that on the city website, neither the previous Planning Commission appointee interviews. And you mentioned there's an audio recording, but there's no link or anything anywhere. I never see that, and I could have sent you an email, but I thought like it should be easily available for any resident. We should do a little, you need to check into it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Can we have staff get with them and check on the link? Okay, thank you. Any additional speakers?
No, that was it.
All right. Do we have any written comments this evening?
No.
Okay, what's next on the agenda here? Right, on 5 consent calendar. Do we have anyone
I move the motion.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Barros, second by Councilmember Rubio. Everybody's votes are in. All right, here we go. Okay, it's 5-0. Consent calendar is adopted, and now we're on to special presentations. So we have 2 proclamations that I'll be reading here. I'll go ahead and come up to the front. Okay. Evening, April. I've got a proclamation here, a proclamation of the City Council of the City of San Ramon declaring March 2025 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month. Whereas when used as prescribed by a doctor, prescription medicines such as stimulants, sedatives, and opioids can be helpful in treating many illnesses, but when medications are misused, they can have serious consequences. And whereas many prescription drugs can alter a person's thinking and judgment and can lead to health risks, including addiction, drug driving, infectious disease, and adverse effects of pregnancy. And whereas anyone who takes prescription opioids can become addicted to them. In fact, as many as 1 in 4 patients receiving long-term opioid therapy in a primary care setting struggles with opioid use disorder. Whereas prescription opioid overdose deaths also involve benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepines are central nervous system depressants used to sedate, induce sleep, prevent seizures, and relieve anxiety. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends avoiding taking benzodiazepines while taking prescription opioids whenever possible due to the risk of overdose. And whereas in 2023, in Contra Costa County, there were 447,583 opioid prescriptions given to patients, which is an age-adjusted rate of 313.9 per 1,000 residents, lower than the state rate of 345.62. And whereas in 2023, a total of 22,474 emergency department visits occurred in California that were related to any opioid overdose, and 407 of those visits occurred in Contra Costa County. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control, 105,007 drug overdose deaths occurred nationally in 2023, and 178 of those were opioid-related overdose deaths that occurred in Contra Costa County. And whereas synthetic opioids, primarily fentanyl, continue to be a significant driver of fatal overdose in the U.S., and in 2023, the rate of overdose from fentanyl in Contra Costa County was 14.7 per 100,000 residents. And whereas to help substance use disorder and overdose deaths, the San Ramon City Council encourages community members to dispose of their expired and unwanted prescription drugs throughout the year and safely store those still needed. And whereas the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse, NCAPDA, encourages all community members in the county to participate in Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month activities to raise prescription drug safety awareness. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of San Ramon does hereby declare March 2025 as Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month and encourages all community members to pledge, spread the word, one pill can kill. All right, let me present that to you, April. We're going to take a picture. Sure. Get everybody up here. Or come on in.
I'll be seen here. Okay.
All right, April, we can give you a chance to say some things. I'll just kind of start by saying, you know, I appreciate all that you do. You know, we've had, you know, you and I have put kits together last year. We did some training. We've done some education and some classes and things like that. So I appreciate all that you do. I know this is very personal for you, but the statistics are very real. And we talked about California and the U.S. and Contra Costa County, but this is happening right here in San Ramon also. So I appreciate you bringing awareness to this issue, but I'll give you the floor here.
Thank you so much. The designation of Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month, some of you already know, but for those that don't, I just want to mention, we signed this bill into law in 2013, and some of you probably know who was then Senator DeSaulnier, Mark DeSaulnier. He's now a federal congressman. He and I worked together to push this bill through, and so it did get into law about May of 2013. And when we did this, it was really to call attention to prescription drugs because back then, it had grown by then to be the #1 cause of accidental death in the United States, and people just weren't talking about it yet. I had suffered a horrible loss. Our son Joey had passed away, a graduate of Cal High in 2006, and then he goes off to college. In 2009, we lost him to a prescription drug-related overdose. That's what stimulated me to get involved and try to call attention to the issue, not just through the Prescription Drug Abuse Awareness Month, but our organization, NCAPDA, that's founded right here in San Ramon, where I live. So at this point where we are is that overdose is still a huge problem. It's the leading cause of death for 18 to 44-year-old people, Americans. So we still have a big problem and we need to continue to address it. So locally, we talked about national and even state and county level data. We have access to something called ODMAP, and this is a program that HIDA, the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Agency, has made available to us. You have to have a login, but I do. So to drill down to San Ramon, from January 1st, 2023 through today, because I pulled the data just before I came here, we had 48 suspected overdoses. That's right here in San Ramon within our 2 zip codes. One was a fatality, and then there were 16 occasions of that 48 that naloxone was administered. Naloxone being an overdose rescue medication that no doubt saved those lives. So while prescription drugs such as sedatives, stimulants, and especially opioids have continued to take lives, that hasn't gone away, it's now not as big a problem as fentanyl is. So no doubt all of you have heard of fentanyl. That is the biggest contributor to overdose. So fake pills that look just like those sedatives and stimulants and opioids are out in the market. The street drugs are out there. They're looking just like, these regular pills that we take commonly. They're prescribed commonly. But if you go on social media platforms, especially Snapchat, you're not going to get the real thing. You're going to get a fake pill, and it could have enough fentanyl in it to kill you. So that's the biggest problem. We know that education and naloxone are huge contributors to turning this issue around, and that's what NCAPD does every single day. So we provide free training. We have left with all of the council members and our mayor and vice mayor a flyer to show you how you can get your own training. I just conducted one of these virtual trainings this afternoon. We would invite you all to do that, or I'm happy to have you gather together and come out and give you your own special training. So consider that. You just need to let me know you want that. All you have to do is go to our website to train, to sign up for the training. That's ncapda.org. You can also let me know if you want an in-person session, and that would be for anybody that's listening to this. Naloxone distribution units are what we're focusing on now. Thanks to the Doherty Valley San Ramon Rotary Club, I know Councilmember Adler, you're a member of, I believe still, we were able to get a grant that has allowed us to purchase and provide for free to the city, if you'll take them, these naloxone distribution units. We can put about 45 boxes of naloxone in each one of them and make it available for free to our citizens. So we hope you'll take advantage of that. I'm currently working with Steve Cox, who manages the senior center, to get one installed there. Hopefully we'll do that. And we're going to start giving training to seniors at the center next week on a monthly basis. So anyway, we would really welcome your support with that project. You'll hear more about that, I'm sure. And then if you're over at the St. Patrick's Day celebration in Dublin this weekend, we will be there with the booth both days. So stop by, get trained on site, and we can give you your very own naloxone rescue kit. So thank you. I've also given you fentanyl test strips, so you'll have to talk to me about how to get trained on that. So we'll do that during the training that I hope you'll all sign up for. So I wanted to have our folks here. We have an amazing group of we're close to about 50 high school students that work with us all the time, and they're doing peer-to-peer education. And we have a small representation of them tonight, and I know they want to have a few words with you, so I'll bring them up. Okay, Trey, you first.
Good evening, Mayor Armstrong, Vice Mayor Veros, and respected council. I'm Shrey Sharma. I joined the NCAPDA in my freshman year of high school at California High, and I'd like to share briefly with you my experience with prescription drug abuse and how April has helped me help the community and gain more knowledge myself. When I first joined the NCAPDA in my freshman year of high school, Cal High had experienced a rise in illicit drug abuse, especially with prescription drugs, which was largely due to the availability on social media apps and due to increased pressure on students to perform. Unfortunately, in this same time frame, the usage of fentanyl to increase the potency of these illicit drugs had increased, increasing the risk of overdose for each of these students, as well as possibly death. Luckily, April has been working tirelessly to raise awareness regarding this issue through the NCAPDA, and more recently has spread solely from prescription drug abuse to fentanyl as well. As a youth ambassador, I've received the opportunity to run a club at Cal High, as well as table at local fairs and present at conferences like the TTT, which allows me to interact directly with our community, which is an opportunity I'm thankful to April for. Although initially the interest we received, especially in my freshman year, was limited at these fairs that I presented at, in recent years, due to April's continued efforts, we have received significantly more interest. Community members seem to be more informed, and they're actively participating in the trainings that April runs. This success is largely due to April's efforts and the continued support of the council, for which I thank you. And I hope to continue helping April and working with the council and the NCAPDA to continue making a difference. Thank you for your time.
Okay, I'll lower this. Hi, I'm Avishi Gupta. I'm a freshman at Monte Vista, so not San Ramon, but I'm close. And I've been a youth ambassador with the NCAPDA for a couple of months. Being a part of this organization has given me the opportunity to raise awareness about issues that aren't always talked about, especially prescription drug misuse and the fentanyl crisis among youth. These are life-threatening problems that affect countless families, yet many people don't fully understand the risks. I know I didn't before April gave a presentation at my school. Fentanyl in particular is extremely dangerous, as we all know, because just a tiny amount can be lethal. Many young people like me, not like me, but many young people unknowingly take pills laced with fentanyl, thinking they're prescription medications, but in reality, these fake pills are deadly. This crisis has been fueled by a lack of awareness, easy access to drugs, and the stigma that prevents open conversation about substance abuse. NCAPDA is making a difference by educating communities and getting rid of the stigma around these conversations. We advocate for stronger prevention measures and share real stories to highlight the dangers of counterfeit pills. As a youth ambassador, I've had the chance to spread awareness through events such as this, talk at conferences, and through social media. It has been empowering to be a part of a movement that focuses on saving lives through education and advocacy. Even educating myself through this organization is extremely important. Information that NCAPDA covers that all people, especially teenagers, should know. By speaking out about this crisis, we can help prevent more tragedies and ensure that young people have the knowledge that they need to make safe choices. Thank you.
Hello, San Ramon City Council members. My name is Anvita Kadambi from NCAPDA, which specializes in drug prevention and education. I'm here to talk about the fentanyl crisis and a bit about my personal experience. I joined NCAPDA in 2023 when a friend of mine committed suicide using drugs. This was a big turning point for me, and I was thrown into like this sort of spiral, trying to make sense of the issue and its impact on our community. I wanted to understand why this is happening and how so many young people were getting caught in this crisis, and more importantly, what can be done to stop it. The reality of drugs even existing is crazy, but it really just hit me in freshman year when a student that I didn't even know asked me about buying drugs. It was a moment that made me realize just how accessible and normalized these substances were. Joining NCAPDA gave me a way to channel my questions and frustrations into action. It allowed me to meet others who had experienced firsthand the effects of fentanyl, and even those who had lost loved ones. I feel like we are always taught in school about percentages and statistics, but hearing their stories really made me understand that this crisis isn't just statistics. It's real lives being changed. What I've learned from working with NCAPDA is that this crisis isn't just about saying, don't do drugs. It's about making sure that young people know that even one pill can kill. It's about breaking the silence and talking about the things that make us uncomfortable. And I hope with this meeting, we can all, make the community safer. Thank you.
For a second, I'm going to thank you for your remarks, April. Some wonderful ambassadors, and if they're representative of all your other ambassadors, you got a great team. But let me see if we got any remarks from the council. Let me start with Richard.
It's always great to see you, April, because you're always working hard on this issue. And you mentioned the Doherty Valley San Ramon Rotary Club, and I'm really happy that we were able to give you a grant. I know it wasn't enough, but anything in that direction helps. And the students you brought are so articulate and so they just feel so strongly about this issue, and you can just feel it. But I just wanted to thank you for your continuing efforts, for awareness of this serious issue that has killed so many people. And you've taken a tragedy and made a productive, ongoing effort that is just, so proud of you and what you've done. I'm proud that you're a citizen of San Ramon and you've done all this. So thank you very much.
Vice Mayor Burrows.
Thank you, April. We get to have you here every year, and it's very inspirational, the story that you share with us, and also the workshops that you conduct. I myself attended one of your workshop and learned how to use Naxolin as well as how to prevent deaths. So thanks for sharing this and saving many lives in our community. And also thanks to our youth ambassadors, Shrey Sharma, Anisha Gupta, and Anvita. Appreciate all your great work, especially as a parent myself of a teen kid. I understand how important it is, your work, to bring the awareness within the students. Especially our schools are well known for high, pressure cooker kind of environment, right? That's what I see. And these students, when they're going through that kind of academic pressure, there's a high chances that they can get into wrong direction and get into opioid situations. So thanks for being there and helping our youth understanding about the dangers of these opioid drugs. Appreciate all your great work. Thank you.
Councilmember Rubio.
April, thank you again for joining us and coming here every year to remind our community, continue to educate our community, and to keep us abreast as to what you're doing and how we can support you. As you know, what we are imparting on you is our gratitude in words, but I know that experience is very profound and very much on the surface of your skin every day. And I can only relate to having closely almost lost my own daughter at some point in my life. And so I can only imagine what it's like to actually have lost your child. So I just want to, impart on you that I have a great sense of admiration that you turned a very profound and painful experience into something that's saving lives today, every day here. So if there's any way I personally or the council as a whole can continue to support you and your interns, please let us know. And I will be next weekend at the Dublin race, so I will see you there. And thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Councilmember Zuena.
Wow, that was spectacular, especially the student ambassadors. I was really taken aback. This is my first opportunity hearing from you, April, and I am aware of the fentanyl overdose and the crisis. In my line of work, I do see it, unfortunately, and oftentimes it it takes someone like you to just rally the troops and bring focus and attention to it. So thank you. I'm remiss. This is my first time ever meeting you and ever hearing about the program. And now I have an opportunity to add another item on my agenda to visit and to participate. So thank you all. Very, very fantastic job. And I hope all you students make, just one life better. If you could turn one life around, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And for the parents that have prescription drugs at home, please keep them locked up. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Thank you to the ambassadors for all that you do for our community. Oh, absolutely. Come on up. We'll take a look at the training and the kit opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say that 2 days ago, my son Joey would have turned 37. He died when he was 21 years old. A lot of lost years, bottom line. So thank you. I really appreciate the council for always doing this for us.
You bet.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, Larry, come on up. All right, we have another proclamation. This one is a proclamation of the City Council of the City of San Ramon declaring March 2025 as American Red Cross Month. Whereas March is American Red Cross Month, when we recognize the compassion of people in San Ramon and renew our commitment to lend a helping hand to our neighbors in need. And whereas American Red Cross volunteers have stepped up to deliver relief and care across the country and around the world, bringing out the best of humanity in times of crisis, as Clara Barton, founder of the American Red Cross, did over 140 years ago. Whereas the volunteers and blood and platelet donors and supporters shine a beacon of hope in people's darkest hours, delivering shelter, food, and comfort during disasters, providing critical blood donations for hospital patients, supporting service members, veterans and their families, saving lives with first aid, CPR, AED, and other skills, or delivering international aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by global crises. And whereas with 982 volunteers in Contra Costa County, the American Red Cross assisted or responded to 94 disasters, assisting 204 families, and through our Sound the Alarm program, the American Red Cross installed 846 smoke alarms, making 262 homes safer, and trained 1,876 youth and adults through Pillowcase Project and preparedness programs. And whereas Contra Costa County residents donated 17,356 units of life-saving blood, hosted 520 blood drives, and trained 11,808 citizens in first aid, CPR, AED, and aquatics, and provided 463 case services to military members and their families, and provided humanitarian aid internationally. And whereas this work to uplift our community is made possible by those who selflessly answer the call to help whenever and wherever it is needed, we hereby recognize this month of March in honor of their remarkable service and ask everyone to join in their commitment to take care of one another. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of San Ramon does hereby declare March 2025 as American Red Cross Month and encourages all citizens of San Ramon to reach out and support its humanitarian mission. All right. Larry, we're gonna get another picture here. So the floor is yours here.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. My name's Larry Fong. I'm a volunteer with the Red Cross and a longtime resident of San Ramon. I'm happy to be here during the month of March to receive the proclamation on behalf of the Red Cross. Thank you for your support on this. I want to mention a few things that when an emergency arises, we respond with volunteers community support, and the generosity of partners and donors. So what are the things that we do? You heard some of the things in the proclamation. It was service to the armed forces, international services, health and safety. Health and safety is educating the public, being prepared, CPR, medical response, things like that. You all know about blood services. When's the last time you've given blood? Okay, think about that. We always need your blood. Youth services, we have a couple of examples here in San Ramon. Both Doherty High and Cal High have high school Red Cross clubs. One of them was at Cal High, where we presented to the club members preparedness, and we taught them how to do hands-only CPR. Okay. Disaster cycle services is something that you hear most about. When you see a disaster, you see Red Cross out there. Now, disasters can be very small, to a house fire. And how's that actually happen? Usually when the fire department responds to a house fire, they'll determine at first glance whether the client or the victims need help, whether they have a place to stay, they have house insurance, or anything like that. If they need help, what they'll do is they'll call the Red Cross dispatch, and there's a team that we staff of volunteers every day, all day long, and they'll respond to that and provide assistance. We do this prevention, response, and recovery. So if things escalate, it's an apartment fire. If it's a larger part of a community, then it starts to grow bigger and bigger and bigger until we just have to start bringing in volunteers from all over. And we don't do this in a vacuum. We do have more volunteers coming in, and we work with partners. Partners are city governments and communities and all types of volunteer organizations. So in San Ramon, what have you contributed as a community to partner with us in Red Cross? Well, I mentioned 2 Red Cross clubs. I mentioned that Cal High, we presented to them hands-only CPR and Be Red Cross Ready. And the community of San Ramon actually hosted 17 blood drives. And it doesn't sound like a lot compared to the whole thing, but everything counts. 428 units of blood. And this is just what happened in San Ramon. Many San Ramon residents go outside and they may go to Pleasant Hill where the donor center is, or to Pleasanton, and donate there as well. Okay. We talk about disasters. There was one in San Ramon that needed help. And normally in South County, we don't need to respond because we have a lot of services that help down here. But there was one, and it was a client. Let's see, there were 3 clients affected. And it must have been a house fire. I don't know the details of that. And one case was open. So in a case like that, we respond, and then there'll be client services where we'll help to try to make sure that they can recover from that. And it's a short-term recovery to leading to long-term recovery. Okay. On behalf of volunteers we serve and the clients we serve, we thank the city of San Ramon for supporting the Red Cross. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. If you can just stick around for a second, we're going to see if we have some comments from the city council. I know for me personally, I've worked with the Red Cross in my time in the Army. Usually when a Red Cross message came in, it usually wasn't good news for a soldier, but really important information that they were able to convey. My time with FEMA, I visited many Red Cross shelters out on disaster sites, and they just do an incredible job providing not only sheltering, but food and water and services and things like that. You mentioned the blood drives. When was the last time? It was actually last Friday, but unfortunately it was at the Pleasanton office. I gave double reds. I usually do the double reds, but you got to wait 16 weeks in between those donations. But you guys do great work, all the programs that you have, and just make a difference for so many people here in San Ramon, Contra Costa County, California, across the U.S., around the world. So thank you very much for all that you do. So I'll kind of start back down the way we did, and let me start with Councilmember Adler.
Thanks so much for being here and talking about what the Red Cross does, and especially this area brings back memories. My father was a college teacher at Foothill College, but he would go to the the mayor might remember there was a Red Cross building right next to the train station in Palo Alto, like right across. And he would go there and teach. And so I feel it's kind of, I feel what you're doing is something that he would do as well. So kind of pulls at my heart a little bit. But thanks so much for being here and explaining what is going on in our community regarding the Red Cross.
Vice Mayor Rose.
Thank you, Larry. Thanks to American Red Cross for all your great services, locally as well as nationally and international. Especially right now, we see that there are a lot of global climate change issues going on, a lot of disasters, and wherever we see these disasters happening, it's heartbreaking. But then American Red Cross being there and helping, it's such a blessing when people are at their vulnerable state, right? So thanks for all your work. And also, I do read that our American Red Cross donated around $10 million for International Red Cross so that they can help with the wars. The world is unfortunately going through a lot of wars at this point. So all your role in helping and supporting each and every human being on this earth, it makes huge difference. So thank you very much for all your great services.
Okay, Councilmember Rubio.
Well, Larry, thank you so much for continuing such an important service here locally for San Ramon through the American Red Cross that's been in existence for 144 years. We are, you are a vital resource for so many people who are in dire need. And, as someone, I can tell you that you are giving people hope in their greatest moment of despair. And I think you know that. And we are just incredibly grateful to you and to all who put your time and energy to do such an important, vital role in providing humanitarian assistance and support when people really need it and really saving lives every day. So I thank you. And if you ever, need anything from us, please do not hesitate to let us know how we can support you. Thank you for everything.
Councilmembers Reyna.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, Larry. Thank you for everything. Great presentation. How can folks get in touch with the local San Ramon Red Cross? You have a web link, website, or is there a phone number if people wanted to volunteer?
Well, you've done that for me.
Okay. Just in general, just for members of that are viewing, like because I know that you guys give, but how can residents contribute besides blood drives, et cetera? I'm sure you take donations of food and money, et cetera. So
We'll be meeting that, I'm drawing a blank. Your emergency manager is the police chief. And I meet with him in a group, I forget what it's called, a PAX meeting quarterly, and they bring up some issues there. But as far as that, you can come to me or you can go to redcross.org and I can actually get some information through the contact.
Thank you. Yeah, I grew up around the Red Cross. I've taken CPR classes and donating blood, et cetera. So really life-saving moments for a lot of people. So thank you for everything you do.
All right. Well, thank you, Larry. Thanks for all that you do. Thank you. Please pass on our thanks to the staff and all the many volunteers that make Red Cross such a great organization helping people. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Next item.
Welcoming Jennifer Wakeman as the new finance director to the city team.
Okay.
Thank you.
City manager?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I am pleased, happy, excited, maybe even a little bit elated to introduce Jennifer Wakeman as the city's first director of finance. Jennifer brings more than 22 years of experience to the role, most recently as the Assistant Admin Services Director for the City of Lafayette. In Lafayette, under her guidance, the city received for the first time ever the Government Finance Officers Association Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the city's audit In addition, she led community initiatives around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and student wellness. Jennifer is currently the president of the California Society of Municipal Finance Officers, following years of volunteering in a variety of committees and leadership roles for the organization, including a term on the CSMFO Board of Directors. She was also the CSMFO Volunteer of the Year in 2019. Jennifer was also appointed by the state controller, and now I have to make sure I read this correctly, to the California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Commission, which I'm sure she can present at least 2 hours on the excitement of the, yes, exactly, of the commission there. Yeah. Jennifer holds a Bachelor's of Science in Finance and Marketing from Boston College and a Master's in Public Administration from California State University, East Bay, which I affectionately call Hayward. That's when I went, but I will excuse her for that. I am very happy to have selected Jennifer for this position, but I also want to thank Jennifer for choosing us. We can't hire people of your caliber without you reaching out and making the change and being willing to jump ship to our organization. So thank you for applying, Jennifer. Absolutely. And with that, I'll let you say a few words and then comments from the council.
Great. I just want to tell you what an honor it is to come here and serve in this community. I grew up in Moraga. I've lived in Lafayette for 19 years. I'm very familiar with San Ramon and the high quality of life that you offer your citizens, businesses. So it's a privilege to be able to serve this community. And it's also an honor to collaborate with the wonderful finance staff that this organization has and the leadership team. I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to work here. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And any welcoming comments? Let me start down at this end. We'll reverse it up a little bit.
I don't think I've ever seen Stephen this happy since the last council meeting ended and adjourned. So thank you for making his day. And when his day is happy, we are all happy. So welcome and thank you. And I'm just curious, what, how did you hear about the opening?
Well, it's a little bit of a convoluted story. I actually applied for the position a couple of years ago and was not successful. And then I missed the opening of it this time until someone reached out to me from staff and said, it's open and you didn't apply again. Would you consider reapplying?
Nice.
And so they took that time to meet with me and to talk to me about some of the challenges that the organization was facing, some of the opportunities and some of the benefits of the community. And I was swayed to, put in my resume and my application and try again, because I was genuinely disappointed when I made it so close the first time several years ago and then missed the opportunity. So it feels like it was meant to be this time around is the right time for me to be here. This is my time to be finance director and to kind of get the financial records in order and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rubio.
So I have to echo what Councilmember Joynet said. The city manager was completely elated when he hired you. And really just, I'm sorry, elated might be an underestimation even. But he said many wonderful things about you personally. And, I'm personally excited when he's sharing giving you such great accolades. I know you're the right pick for this position. And, and just thank you for being willing to come back, try again, and to come in at a time that our city is really needing someone who has this talents and the skills to really make this important lift right now. Oh. And so I really appreciate you coming here to work with us, for us, and the city. And can't wait to see all the great work that you will be coming out to report to us in the coming months. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, let me go down to Councilmember Adler.
I'm also witness to the bubbling over.
Making it sound like I'm Eeyore usually.
But it was great to see, and it made me excited. And I know maybe it could have happened earlier, but the main thing is it happened now, and we really need you, and we love hiring essential, smart people that are going to help our city, and you are the woman for that. So I'm glad to, talk to you later as we go over the budget and things like that. But so welcome to San Ramon, and I'm so glad you're here and look forward to working with you in the future.
All right, Vice Mayor Veros.
Jennifer, welcome aboard. 22 years of role experience sounds pretty exciting. And, we went through some are pretty big challenges last year. And we definitely need great leadership here in this space so that we can bring it back and tie it together so that we can have smooth process in following years. Especially, I see finance as of our city is like a moral compass for our community, right? For our city, it's very critical for us, and it also the trust factor that makes very important within community for us as a council. So looking forward to work with you, and once again, welcome aboard. Thank you.
I'll just echo all that, Jennifer. Welcome. Last month, I was attending a Contra Costa County Mayor's conference meeting, and I sat next to the mayor of Lafayette, and she spoke very highly of you. It was all good, and it was kind of like it was certainly our gain, her loss, but our gain, and it was really a good report. You mentioned challenges and opportunities. We have plenty of that coming up. We got our upcoming budget workshops and things like that. This is the season, and we've got the Measure N funds. We'll start seeing those later on this year as well. So a lot of changes in the finance world, and we know you've got the talent, you're up to it, and we look forward to seeing you here real soon. So welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Stephen, did you do the Darth Vader voice? The circle is now complete. No, you didn't? Okay, just checking. I just want to
I don't want to scare away people on day 2, so that might be next week.
Right.
So just prepare.
I'll be ready.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Next item, please.
Item 7, deferred consent items, we have none. Item 8, unfinished business, we also have none. Item 9, new business, 9.1, geologic hazard abatement districts, GAD, wildfire prevention presentation by Shane Shee, district engineer.
All right, Shane, you're up. This is, I guess, part 2 in a series of conversations we're having about wildfire preparedness and mitigation efforts and things like that. We'll have some more, but looking forward to what you got to present tonight.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to come up here. Usually we do a presentation for our engineers report and a summary of our gas activities, usually in the spring season before the starting of the next fiscal year. But the audience is usually smaller than this. So I'm glad that I'll be able to reach more people, for people to understand what the gas actually do. Also kind of to address people's concern because of in light of the LA fire. A lot of people actually ask me questions about what we do and what just in general, what the city is addressing these concerns for the people. So I think this presentation, I'll first try to kind of set up the groundwork, explaining what is the GAD, and also discuss the 2 GADs that the city manages. And then we move on to the fire safety issues. And at the end, I want to talk about some of the environmental factors and kind of reason why a lot of people asking us to do things that, but we are restricted in some ways of not being able to do everything that people ask for. And then at the end, just summarize things and also provide a few of the frequently asked questions. So hopefully people have more understanding of what the gas do and then also about the fire safeties. So a lot of people, this is actually the first question. They look at their tax bills and then they see the line items that may said Northwest SR GAD or San Ramon GAD. And there is a phone number that actually connects to my desk. So I pick up the phone, call, and say, hey, why do you charge me $945? So these are paying into the two GADs that the city manages. One is the North San Ramon GAD on the northwest side or the preserve area. The other one is here, the county still calls us the San Ramon GAD, but it's the Doherty Valley GAD. Some people have different names for that. So just quickly, Doherty Valley GAD was formed in 1990. It was originally called GAD number 1990-01. It was renamed as Doherty Valley GAD in 2017 when the Northwest San Ramon GAD was formed. It was also, of course, referred as San Ramon GAD, West Branch GAD, or Windermere GADs, and that's just people come up with their informal names. So currently, there are 12,000 assessment units. One assessment unit is basically a single-family house. So for any smaller houses, townhouses or condos, the units are a little smaller. So that meaning that people are paying a little bit less than the full assessment amount. So the DVGAD will eventually own approximately 2,900 acres of open space. So currently we own about 70 to 80% of that amount. On the other hand, Northwest San Ramon GAD, it was recently formed in 2017. It would have 363.1 assessment units and will eventually own a much smaller 192 acres of open space. So what is a GAD? The GAD basically, it abates all the geologic hazard through monitoring and maintenance, and it responds to hazards that may happen in these open space areas. But a good big mission for these GADs is to be a good steward of the land and to maintain all the habitat and the natural resources. And also it would, through a collection of the assessment, to maintain appropriate fund balance so we can address these geologic hazards. So yeah, every year, like I said, we prepare an engineer's report and do a reserve fund study and to propose the next year's assessment rate. So this is to show the general area of the Doherty Valley GAD. It's basically the east side of the city. The light purple area are the open space parcels that are already accepted by the DVGAD, and the dark purple ones are to be accepted. So we keep asking the developer when they're going to offer us those lands, and they keep saying in the next 2 years. Every year we do the maintenance of all these features that are listed here, and then do field management. And so the biggest biggest work that I've seen for DVGAD in the past few years is the Cami Court landslide repair project. That one, this photo was taken on the Hidden Valley Trail, looking down onto Windermere. So all the houses are actually huge houses, but they look tiny, and then so all the machineries also look tiny. So it just shows you the overall scale of that landslide repair. So that's a $5 million projects to address the landslide. Some other projects that we did, one of them to address the winter storms damage caused on the West Alamo Creek Trail. So it was full of mud and all that damage on the slope. So we hired an on-call contractor to fix it and put the gravel back and make it look nice and accessible. Kind of a smaller scale landslides. This also happened during the same time. This is on South Gale Ridge Road, kind of near the Bridges Golf Course. So coming down just right below that landslide, there are a couple of houses, and then the homeowners definitely lost a lot of sleep. but we were able to address that and just restore that landslide pretty quickly. So more routine things that we do. So every year we have our contractor going through all the open space areas and mark down all the damage or any issues that they see on our GIS map. And we'll call on our contractors to go there and do erosion repair on the left, some creek or vegetation cleanup in the middle. And the right side, it's to clean up some V ditches to keep it clean and keep the drainage function. So moving on to the Northwest San Ramon GAD, of course, because of the scale of the photo, it looks just as big as the Doherty Valley GAD, but it's much, much smaller. This is basically all the open space areas around the preserve projects. It has kind of similar features, drainage, ditches, benches, and roads, but overall it's just much smaller. And so the light purple area is only focused on the southwest corner. So that's about 7% of the land that was currently owned by the GAD. So mainly it's still the developers that's in charge of any kind of maintenance or fire risk abatement. So now that we have a basic understanding of these two GADs, let's just talk about the fire safety and the people's main concerns. So what I'm showing here is the image that's the latest data from CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE is now just asking all the local governments to adopt the area that's in charge or within the local cities. What I'm going to say is that it has not been adopted, so it should be kind of considered as tentative data. But the takeaway is that there's 0% of the city that's actually within the very high fire hazard zones. About 12% that's high fire risk, not risk, but fire hazard, and about 31% that's moderate. But these 12%, 31% zones, they're mainly within the open space areas, not really in the residential areas that people are, super concerned about. So people might hear about this term called Zone Zero ever since the LA fire. That was kind of about the 5-foot amber resistant zone that people are talking about, or people now are hearing that we are going to be required to do a 5-foot clearance around our houses. So it was rooted from the 2020 AB 3074. There was this requirement, but there was no enforcement language with that assembly bill. So basically, it's more of a suggestion. But that was when people were not really that concerned about fire risk. So after the fire, in light of that, there is governor's executive order in February 2025. It calls for the adoption of these Zone Zero regulations and do more studies to confirm the fire hazard within the state. So the executive order now requires the very high zones to have the 5-foot clearance or the amber zone. So that kind of means that none of the area within the city actually has that requirement. But also it may in the future expand to the high zones. But just for right now, there's not anything that we really need to do. So in response to that, there are just some things that we're already doing. The GADS has always been doing these activities. One of the biggest things that we do is the annual weed abatement and fire break mowing. So this is how we do it. So 96% of the rainfall in San Ramon is actually falls from October to April. So which means that all that growth happens during this rainy season, and when the weather starts to dry out and we have high grass that's starting to dry out and people are starting to become more concerned and start calling me. So the deadline set by the fire district is June 1st of every year. So we usually start calling our on-call contractors to go out there in May or late April to start doing the weed abatement work, and they really usually they just finish that before the deadline. And then the fire district will have their inspectors to go out to all of our open space areas and to do their inspection per their standards. And they would send us any notice or maybe just pick up the phone and call me if there's any area that they think needs additional work. So the photo that I'm showing there is a tractor. So it creates like a buffer zone between people's fence area and the open space. So in case of any fire, there will be a big buffer, and that's not gonna quickly burn down people's houses. So mainly they're using disking. Disking is actually less common, but usually 90% of that is just mowing. And they also would take down any vegetation along the way, such as dead trees or shrubs. So I'm showing a map just for the Doherty Valley area because, like I said, Northwest San Ramon area, we have not started doing any work yet. So this is the also the map that I share with the fire district. So like they said during the last council member meeting, council meeting. So they are using the latest computer model to figure out the fire path and things like that. So they're gonna look at my map again and also let me know if there's anything I need to add to this map that we can keep improving our weed abatement work. But basically, small parcels, we do a 100% abatement, just cut down all the grass. For larger ones, we may have 100 feet of perimeter breaks, or we might cut some cross breaks. People might actually see the tractor driving like high on a slope if you're in that area sometime during the spring. So that's the tractor creating the cross breaks. So also, in the meantime, we also maintain the fire access roads, like the east side, kind of going through the hillsides. That's just to maintain the fire access roads for the fire trucks, just in case of any disaster. So there are also two things that can kind of reduce the risk within these open spaces. One is actually even more important than the mowing, which is grazing. So the grazing is the GAD rents out all the most of the open spaces for grazer, and we charge them very little money. But the main reason why we rent out these areas is so that they can use the cattle to reduce the fire risk, and then also the cattle helps to reduce to preserve the natural habitat. It actually kind of increase the natural habitat value of it. And the other thing is the photo that's shown on the right. That's on an as-needed basis. Sometimes just per people's request through CRM or through phone calls. We have the contractors go back there and just remove any trees or brushes that are against the fences or overgrowth, and to just keep everything clean. But one thing I need to bring up is that most of the trees within these open space areas are kind of fire resistant. So in case of fire, they're not gonna just burn down all of a sudden. So this is to add some context to like how the city maintains our trees. It's not just limited to our open spaces. Also, it applies to all the neighborhoods and the parks. So the Public Services Division, they actually use a cloud-based software to keep track of all the city-owned trees, which is about 48,000 of them. So They just take turns to do all the pruning and maintenance and remove all the dead or dying trees, or just do additional work, and just to make sure that there is no fire risk associated to these trees. But also, again, most of the city-owned trees are also pretty fire resistant. Yeah, so here's a list of the standards that our public services uses to maintain their trees. So the next page actually kind of summarizes them. First one is to remove all dead trees, goes without saying. The next one is actually more important, is to actually make sure there is a clearance between the ground level and 5 feet up. So they have to remove all the branches or all the leafy foliage, and just to reduce all the fire risk. So in case of fire, it's not gonna just grow up onto it and just burn down the whole trees. Also, PG&E kind of plays a role into this. They are not really part of the city, but people also have big concerns about what happens to these the electric wires, transmission towers, or gas lines. So PG&E actually inspect all the trees around their infrastructure, and they apply for encroachment permits through the city, and then the city would actually sometimes go with them and to see how they do their work. So for most of the trees, PG&E would keep an 18-inch of distance between the highest leaves to their distribution lines. And for higher risk areas, they actually keep 4 feet. So actually people see that PG&E goes around and cut people's trees, and sometimes not aesthetically pleasing, but then at least they keep a very, very safe way of, for the trees. Also, around the transmission towers, this figure is just to show that just imagine the situation if the tree falls down. They keep a distance that there cannot be any trees between the tower and the tree zone, just so that even if there is a tree falls down, it's not going to create any hazards. And also they keep a distance or clearance from the gas pipes to any landscaping or trees. Okay, I also want to bring up that there are other GATs in the city, but not managed by the city. One of them is Canyon Lakes. The other one is called Whitman Ranch. That actually includes the North Canyon Estate and Henry Ranch. So they are overseen by the county, but they do similar things to the 2 GATs that we manage. And then there are also some other parcels maintained by the city crew, so not part of the GATs, but they do similar work, cut down weeds and remove dead trees and all that. Okay, so this is to explain why sometimes the city crew or the GATs don't do everything that people ask for. The main reason is most of these open space areas are within conservation easements, and that's a mechanism that the regular agencies oversees the activities for the GATs, mainly to keep the environmental values. And so a lot of the vegetation, they were planted as mitigation during the development process. And so the GATs are required to keep these vegetations healthy, while also, try to reduce the fire risk. So there is a fine line between those two. So sometimes people just, try to take matters into their hands. So like what we're showing in this photo. So the vegetation on 2 sides actually looks perfectly healthy. They're green, and the brushes are actually fire resistant. So if they ask me, I'll say, no, there is not a lot of fire risk, So we'll make sure we cut those weed abatement, the fire breaks, but there's really no concern there. But then people are just gonna do that, removing vegetation and make the whole slope bare. So that's actually a violation of the conservation easement, and it's considered vandalism. So we'll have to go after these homeowners, unfortunately.
And also, I want to mention, Mayor and members of the council, that we are looking at ways to educate people that are along GAD boundaries. We have Shane showing the vegetation on the slope issue. We've also had a number of issues where the trees are maturing and getting taller, and some residents, they don't like it blocking a view, and they will go out and chop down the trees. That can lead to fines and mitigation where we have to plant more trees and they end up paying for the trees. So we want to make sure that the public is very aware that the trees serve a purpose. We're maintaining them, slope stabilization and natural habitat. And if it's blocking a view, they need to contact us to see what we can do rather than taking it into their own hands and chopping them down to GAD. So we will be issuing more outreach to GAD residents.
Okay, so just basically, I have talked about the value or the function of the GADs and the fire risk and what the GADs are doing to address these. But these are some frequently asked questions. So some people may ask, how much reserve do the GADs keep? So the DV GAD keeps about $14 million in the reserve. And the Northwest San Ramon GAD currently keeps about $2 million. And so why do we keep the all that reserve? First, of course, to address any large events, just in case those happens. And also we use all that funds to do deferred maintenance and regular maintenance. And so we really need to have that much. And then actually every year we do a reserve fund study to make sure we're still in a good shape. And then also we have enough to address all the concerns. Also, people wonder why the GAD funds. Can they be used elsewhere? Especially, during the budget concerns, people are saying, "Hey, can you mix them up with the general funds?" But the answer is always no. By law, the GAD funds are independent, and whatever people are paying into these GADs, they can only be used in these individual GADs. This question I actually had answered earlier, but when will I see the abatement and the trimming done this year? So it's between May and June. So that's when we do the main weed abatement, and then staff will go there and then to actually inspect all the work done by the contractors. And then at the meantime, we'll look at all the brushes and trees and see if there's any additional work we need to do. And those work does not need to be done by the June 1st deadline, but we'll keep doing those during the whole summer. Yeah, so when people are calling or sending CRMs, they say, why don't you do it now? Because we would like to just do everything at once. There's a good workflow there, and we would like to do everything efficiently. So, yeah, this question actually our city manager had already answered for us. Why can't the GAD trim or remove the trees or brushes the way I want? So we need to adhere to our conditions with the conservation easement. So everything has to be regulated. And so also it's cost prohibitive if we want to just remove everything that people don't like, something that blocks their good view to the rolling hills and all that. We have thousands or if not, 10,000 trees that we need to take care of. So at last, who do I talk to? If anything that's related to the GAD, please feel free to call me. My number, of course, listed on the tax bills, but that's my phone number. Other open space or trail issues, we have Brent Scruggs and Tony Weekland from Public Services. They would take phone calls and address those concerns. And for trees and landscaping, we have two Garys. They're the best Garys I've known. They're our in-house tree experts, and they usually have very good answers about the trees. But at last, For any fire emergency, please don't call us. Just pick up the phone and call 911. Okay, thank you. If you have any question, I'm here to answer.
Thank you, Shane. Let's start with questions, and then we'll have public comment, and then we'll make final comments by the council. So what are your questions? Let me start down with Councilmember Schwaynet.
Hi, Shane. Thank you for the presentation. Just one question really regarding geological, the hazard abatement. Is there forethought for any of the wildlife in the open preserve when you're doing this? And like, just want to hear your thoughts on that. If there's something that prevents the animals from, because when you're clearing a lot of the brush, you know, the animals also coming in. The deer, for example, are they trotting over people's fences, et cetera, because now that natural line has been cut?
Yeah, so usually any kind of wildlife, except for squirrels, they just leave. You know, they kind of get away from the tractors because of the noise. The squirrels, they kind of hide in the grounds. Yeah, but everything that we do, you kind of have to adhere to all the regulations.
Yeah.
So
okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Councilmember Rubio.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your presentation, Shane. I have a couple of kind of questions out there, so I apologize. But in terms of the bioretention cells, like what kind of chemicals are we contending with most of the time when we talk about runoff and capturing that runoff?
So in terms of stormwater, the city is actually very clean. You know, when we're talking about the clean water program and they're talking about the PCBs that we need to capture, the city almost has none because we don't have a lot of industrial areas. But mainly we're talking about like fertilizers or, you know, chemical that used in the people's backyards. And so all that stormwater are also captured in the water quality control ponds. And so they settle into these sediment into these ponds before they actually go into the natural streams. So all that water going to natural stream are pretty clean. And so after a few years, when we have too much sediments, then we're responsible to go and remove the sediment and get them tested and see if they need to go to any special hazardous waste landfills, or they can be just disposed of.
Right. To make sure, obviously, that it's not going into the water that we actually want to conserve.
Yeah.
And this one's a little bit an unusual question, but I'm just curious because animals, I know you said that the cows help preserve the natural habitat. They keep the grass low because they're eating it all the time and grazing all the time. But then there's sort of this other effect that, you know, well, what they eat has to come out, right? And that itself releases methane. But how do we, like, do the cattle ranchers, like, just sort of have a way that they manage and make sure that they're kind of moving around and spreading out instead of, like, kind of allowing them to keep going to one area, which could then, you know, create a situation out of habit?
Yeah, so I am not an expert in cattle grazing, but our grazers, they try to explain to me, you know, what's happening. So they're natural like ranchers, right? They know how to manage the cattle. So for the health of the cattle, they actually need to move it because the cattle actually like the more fresher grass that they can eat. But at the meantime, it kind of spread out all the droppings, and also that becomes fertilizers. So the methane, of course, is like the necessary evil for that, but it's the benefit just outweighs the you know, the drawbacks of it.
Right, right. And the main thing being that we don't want it to, like, accumulate in one area. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So then now when you talked about natural habitat conservation, have you noticed if whether or not San Ramon has any different challenges pertaining to the existence of non-native plants, and if so, to what degree, and how are we handling that?
Yeah, so the conservation easement holders, they also are responsible for that. So every year they actually come to the open space and walk it, and they document all the non-native species. And so, and every year they send us a report and to just let us know if there's anything that we need to remove. But along the way, if they see some isolated non-native plants, they just pick them up and just dispose of them. Yeah, so from their monitoring reports, we're actually pretty good. Most of that, the hillsides are mostly native species. But the non-native species, sometimes the cattle actually like them more. So they would pick and choose the non-native species and eat them.
That's very efficient there, and for many reasons. My last question then is, well, it's great that we're not naturally a high-risk zone, very high risk. But in the event that, say, unfortunately, people can start fires, what is a confidence level that you feel in terms of our safety and how we can respond and manage in the event of an unexpected fire started by someone?
Yeah, so sometimes the risk starts from people playing with fireworks during summer months, in dry areas and like in remote areas that sometimes just start something. But I think what the gas can do is just make sure that the fuel amount is reduced. So if something starts, it cannot spread so fast that the fire district cannot address it. And then we also work with our fire districts to make sure that the fire trails are open. All the gates, they have their keys and they can access to anywhere. And then so like our fire chief said 2 weeks ago, they respond to any kind of event pretty quickly. And if the conditions are kept in a reasonable level, they're pretty confident they can just fight any fire, efficiently and quickly.
Okay, thank you for answering my questions.
Thanks.
All right, let me go down to Councilmember Adler.
Thanks very much, Shane. You talked about the maintenance, the developers are in charge of maintenance. When you say developers, you mean like HOAs or like homeowners associations have responsibility for their area? Is that how that works? And
yeah, so around the houses, the communities, eventually it will just go to the HOAs. So from the agreement between the HOA and the developer, which is the Lennar, the HOA is responsible for that 100-foot fire buffer zone. So they will keep doing that. But what I'm saying for the developer's responsibility is that before we formally accept those open space parcels, they also have the responsibility to maintain everything else, which means that if the grass is too long, they have to either do abatement to cut them down, reduce the length, or they can also introduce either cattle or sheep or any other measure to reduce the amount. So, yeah.
And I'm assuming there's inspection. You talk about the July or June 1st deadline. Is that, do you have inspectors going around just to make sure that the work's been done?
Yeah, so the inspectors are from the fire district. They're enforcing all the fire requirements. So our job is to do all that work ahead of them. And then so our engineers, our staff actually does the inspection for the work by the contractors. And so we make sure that the work is done to our own standards, and the fire district's inspector will go and make sure that we actually do that. And then so in case they see anything that is not satisfactory, or there may be some regrowth because of any wet weather in the season before, they would just tell us and we'll go back and redo it.
And do you meet, I'm assuming you meet on a regular basis with the fire district and kind of make sure that you're on the same page as far as what's been done? And how often does that happen? Approximately.
Yeah, we actually get their call almost every year. And they have some personnel turnovers. And then so I think they have a new guy last year, but we're getting to know each other. And there are some areas that are not as familiar, whenever there's a new person come in, and then we'll just keep our conversation going. It's kind of a collaboration between the fire district and the GATS.
Because especially as we get into the more dangerous time, the dry season, I would think you'd want to maybe have more meetings or really keep on top of things, so.
Yeah, actually, I just scheduled a new meeting with their fire marshal. We're gonna discuss the computer model that they're just using, and then see when they can give us some results that can make us do more.
Great, great. Thanks, Shane, very much.
Thanks.
All right, Vice Mayor Veros.
Shane, thank you for a great presentation.
Thanks.
It's a lot of good information. Is it possible for us to make this as a video presentation for our community? Because there's so much good information here, right?
Sure.
Can we do that one?
Sure, we can post the presentation itself. We usually like the narrative for context in the presentation, but all of our council meetings are on YouTube. We can clip out this particular presentation, and I'm sure Shane would love his phone number spread throughout the community. I do joke about that. I would like to note, Shane is pretty humble about mentioning, oh, my number is on that list with your tax roll. But if you go down that tax roll list, most of those numbers go to a general desk or somebody who needs to connect you to somebody else to talk about your bill. My number was on the tax bill for about 15 years when I helped manage the GAD finances. We're continuing that tradition. When somebody looks at the bill and is upset with how much they're paying, it's always good to get that person directly. And then once, I don't know, Shane, I'm putting you on the spot here, but my experience, 10 times out of 10, when you explain what the GAD is used for, and in particular, that we just repaired a $5 million landslide, people always go, oh, okay, now I see the purpose of this. So yes, so Shane's number, should I repeat it now? No, you'll see it on the presentation later.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to get it up.
Yeah, that will be great. And when I see on my property bill, I won't get upset because I see the beauty of that GAD. But yeah, definitely, I do get a lot of questions, especially around the cow grazing, right? Folks who use the trails, they are worried that cattle may attack them, cows may attack them. So that's one worry they keep coming out with. So I just tell them, if you're not feeling safe, there are some guidelines already posted on the trails, right? So they should follow it. Otherwise, they should avoid. So, but then the information why we do that, that's important to let them know. That will be great. And another question for me, one question for me is regarding the VDHS. How we monitor our VDHS on this?
Sorry, how?
The VDHS on these GATs, do we monitor them or how we keep it clean? Is there?
Yeah, so they provide the drainage function, so collect the storm water so that they don't keep going downslope and create erosion. So from time to time, they get clogged with sediment or debris, so we clean them up. And sometimes they inevitably will start cracking, or there will be some squirrels digging holes around them and creating damage. So every year we have a whole length new list of damaged VDHs that need to be filled in or replastered or replaced. Yeah, so just to keep all that function. And so after the regular maintenance work, they all look kind of new.
Maybe we should start using drones to check it out. That's like one of the hobby that I go with my son and watch all these VDHs to see where we can clean sometimes. So
we actually very early on used drones to model a landslide, the one behind the senior center. And I think initially FEMA said, oh, we'll give you $30,000 to repair it. Then we modeled it with the drone. They saw the extent and they said, okay, $300,000. So day one, the drones really paid off, and we still use them for some monitoring.
Yeah, well, once again, thank you very much for all your good work. Sorry, one more question regarding this landslide. Those are pretty expensive, right? Like we end up paying like millions of dollars. So is there any new technology coming up? Are we exploring any options to see if we can proactively catch them before? Because I see a lot of AI stuff is coming up nowadays. So
yeah, that's a direction. Currently, I think the more reliable way is to still have real people going out. So that's also part of our scope with our on-call geotechnical engineers. So every year, they also go to about 10 to 15 spots that they regularly go to. And then so each year they take a new photo, comparing how it looks like this year, comparing to the next year and the next year. So they keep track of all that ground movement. And so hopefully if we catch something before it develops into a real landslide, we'll be able to actually repair or do any kind of measure to prevent that from actually happening or developing into big ones.
Oh, okay, so we are exploring that options, right?
Yeah.
That's great. So, well, once again, education, awareness in community, that's the key. Especially like I saw that the one of that Rolling Hills, I'm sure that is a Rolling Hills home, which they cut off there, right? So that's like my familiar trail. So anyway, so in order to avoid those kind of issues, we need to bring these video presentations and education within the community. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Shane. I think it was on your slide 11 where you were showing the Northwest GAD. And the area that the city had responsibility for, didn't we have a fire in that area?
Oh,
Back
yeah.
down below the park, the new Sunrise Ridge Park?
Yeah.
What was that? What was the cause of that? What was that all about?
So we actually talked to fire district about that. They had their co-record. I think it only says that it's possible someone was playing with firework, but I think they addressed that pretty immediately and put it off in a few hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were there the next day. It was all black and looked burned.
Yeah. All right. And then we talked about cattle grazing. You made a reference a minute ago to possibly, using sheep, but I've seen goats out there too.
Yeah.
Do we still do goats? It's been a while since I've seen them, but do we have contract with goats to keep some of the areas policed up? I think I've seen them over along 680.
Yeah, we currently are not using the sheeps, mainly because there are more complaints about sheeps than cattle. People are more aware of the smell and the noise, so they get annoyed. So that was many years ago when the city was still kind of using it, sporadically. But now we're just mainly just using cattle. Yeah. But if the developers they use sheep, we're not saying that they cannot.
But I thought I'd seen goats. Maybe there were sheep. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh?
Yeah, there are, and it might be in some of the private, the separate GADs that we don't manage, but I've witnessed goats as well.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the other question, just more of a technical question, was on that 100-foot perimeter break standard. Is that the fire district standard from the fire marshal? Is that where do we come up with 100-foot? I've seen the fire breaks. They look good.
Yeah. Yeah, so the 100-foot, that's the fire district standards. And then so that's the counts from the structure. So sometimes, we look at the standard way of those design of those communities. Sometimes they have 40 feet from the structure to their fences. And then we do another 60 feet outside of that. So for each area, we try to, stay within that 100, at least have the 100-foot buffer from the structure to the end of the fire break. But at the end, it all kind of plays into their standards.
Okay. And I guess the last question, when you're showing the fire severity zones on the new map, I actually thought there was a portion kind of on the perimeter, just on a little bit in the west side and maybe a little bit in Doherty Valley also, that was actually in the very high range. You had said it was 0, but I thought we had a little bit that was inside the city limits.
Yeah, so I think from the website that shows this data, it might be a little confusing because there is a very high area that's just right outside of city limits.
Okay.
So if you see the Northwest San Ramon region, that's high. And then so if you go about, the same distance for that, the Farias length, there is a very high zone outside of that.
Okay, now, and I'm familiar with that up in the Faria area, but I thought there was some even closer to, I guess really West Side Drive area, Twin Creeks area, or Morgan Drive area. I thought it creeped into there when you zoom in on it, but maybe not.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just recently updated their data, so maybe there was some data revision to that.
Okay. Okay, all right. Well, that's all the questions I've got. So let's go ahead and open up public comment on this item. Do we have any speaker cards?
We do not, no.
No written comment either.
No.
Okay.
Not for this item.
Public comment is now closed.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Shane. Any final comments from council members?
No, man.
Okay, well, great presentation, Shane, and I really appreciate it, especially in the context, kind of in two areas. One is just general information about the GAD. I think there's a lot of people that don't attend our GAD meetings. Usually we have those, prior to a council meeting or something like that. So this is here in a council meeting, and people can have the opportunity to see what a GAD is all about. Plus the context in terms of fire prevention and the things that we do as a city in those open space areas in the GAD area. So I think that's very helpful. I still look forward to maybe getting our water districts in here and other partners to let us know what they're doing as well for fire prevention mitigation. So, but thank you for that. And now it's time to move on to item 10, city manager's comments and council member comments.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I am always very excited to present my updates to the council. And this evening, I do have two. The first is last Wednesday, March 5th, Mayor Armstrong presented the State of the City address hosted by the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce. I would like to mention that the recording is now live on the city's YouTube channel and website. You can view the recording at sanramon.ca.gov/YouTube. This is the first time, I believe, that we have put the state of the city on our YouTube channel. We are trying to get more content up and more public meetings and forums that we haven't covered before that we do have recordings for up online, and this is just one example. So if you would like to see the state of the city, you can go to our YouTube channel. And then previewing next Tuesday with the council on March 25th, the city will host the first budget workshop for the upcoming fiscal year. This is earlier than we normally hold a budget workshop, and this is in addition to our traditional series of workshops with the council. This workshop will provide a general overview of where we are at right now with the budget, what the budget process and timeline will look like over the next several months, the initial fiscal year 25-26 budget requests, and then we will also be sure to update on our Measure N projections and the impact to the budget. So something new at the council meeting, a general preview of the workshop for the public. The agenda will be posted 72 hours before the event at sanramon.ca.gov/meetings. If the public would like to preview the agenda. And with that, that concludes my updates for this evening.
Okay, all right. Thanks. I'm going to go now over to Council Member Adler for council member comments.
All right, be happy to talk about my activities. On Wednesday, February 26th, there was a ribbon cutting. I don't want to take all the mayor's, because he was the one actually up there.
Please take it. Less for me to talk about.
But I was very impressed with this facility, Belmont Village Senior Living, and off Bollinger slightly, kitty corner to the City Hall. And it's a first-rate facility. I was impressed. We took a tour, and they have a wall of the people that live in the various Belmont Village senior living areas in the state, and they have a wall of all the 100-year-old occupants of the village, and quite a few of them. So I guess that kind of makes you want to sign up, for for that, if you can, because it's really, I mean, I don't think you have to leave the building. There's a gym, there's a beautiful library with a fireplace. If you want to look intelligent and get a picture taken with a fireplace behind you, I recommend it. But you know, we had the people that were, you know, responsible for building this. And of course, we had, besides the mayor with the, you know, cutting the ribbon, we had Patricia Will, the founder, CEO of Belmont Villages, Senior Living. You had Alex Mayran, the CEO of Sunset Development, and Danielle Cook, the president CEO of Chamber of Commerce. And they were going to have this event earlier, but because of the LA fire, they kind of put it off a little bit because of the Belmont Villages down in that area. But one thing I was impressed at that, I was glad I got a chance to talk to the concert harp player. I mean, we had a lady there who, Anna Maria Mendita, who has played with the San Francisco Symphony and San Francisco Opera and Ballet, and she has performed for the Pope at the Vatican and President Carter. Or Clinton. So I was impressed with that, with her. And February 26th, I also attended the Tri-Valley Cities Coalition held at the Bridges that the mayor also presided over. Did a great job, and it was good to kind of learn about the coalition, which was started, I understand, about 10 years ago to kind of give our area a little more clout in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. And so the cities of Danville and Dublin and Livermore and Pleasanton and San Ramon all joined forces. So I think that's a really good coalition. And it was interesting to hear about what goes on in Sacramento as they kind of help with some of the new legislators. And also they just talked about the climate in Washington, D.C., which is a little bit problematic now with some of the things we want to get done and some of the grants and so on. On February 26th, there was a Street Smart Advisory Committee meeting held at City Hall in the training room. And it was interesting to hear about, you know, that is another collaborative partnership between Danville and San Ramon, Contra Costa County, and the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, and then also the Fire Protection District. And so they are all about safety. And Chris Weeks of our staff of our San Ramon Transportation Division Manager, he talked about some of the grants they have received, and they've gotten about $20K from State Farm, and I think I got about 804,000 as far as the partner agency's contribution. So they just had a bike safety event. They also have a bike safety coming up, Iron Horse Middle School event for helmet fitting on October 25th. So that's a ways. October 1st, there was a teen job fair, which I think the mayor, I know, went to, helped out at the senior center in Dublin. So we kind of gave some of the high school kids an opportunity to be interviewed as they go on in their life and need to get jobs, you know, starting even this summer. So it gave them a little practice, and we had different students, different goals of a lot of these students. Some were very academic. Interviewed with somebody that's going to college at Cornell, just really smart and active. And then you have other people who maybe don't want to go the college route and they want to maybe go to more of a trade school route. So also need to be interviewed for that. So I think it was a good opportunity for them to have that experience. And on March 3rd, I briefly attended the Senior Advisory Committee meeting, and I did that because when I was chair of that committee for a while, and I was also on the committee for a while, and I never got a chance to say goodbye when I was appointed to the city council. So I brought them some coffee and pastries and just kind of showed them a little love and appreciation for the time that I was on that committee. So, and anyway, and also, of course, the mayor's State of the City event, which was great. Last thing, we just had a ribbon cutting ceremony at the Alora new restaurant that's opening up, the blending Mediterranean flavors there, and I can't wait to take my wife there and check out that new place, which it's a great place at City Center. It's at a good site. So I wish them the best, and I hope a lot of our citizens take a look at that restaurant. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
All right, let me move on to council members. Wayne.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended, along with Councilmember Adler and you, Mayor, the Belmont ribbon cutting, and I did see the photographs of the 100-year-olds, and it made me think I can make it too. So if I live there, I'll make it. And it's the center is actually, and I've seen a lot of these centers up and down California, starting from Southern California up here, and each center gets better. And I think the word I would use is class. They really provide an area of, it's not just four white walls. It's really colorful, a lot of artistry, a lot of respect for the seniors that live there. 24-hour staff, kitchen, food, you name it. As Councilmember Adler mentioned, why would you leave? And it's the staff over there do a fantastic job, and they really do care about their the residents. That same night, I attended also the Tri-Valley Cities dinner coalition meeting and dinner. Councilmember Adler, you mentioned about like coalition, about like how cities come together. Vice Mayor Arnerich from the city of Danville, DBA town of Danville, that's a joke, mentioned about why it got started. And it was an interesting story where the vice mayor attended it with, I think, the former mayor here from San Ramon to Senator Dianne Feinstein's office, and Senator Feinstein said, "Who are you? Why should I care?" And so part of the coalition here is actually bringing awareness to cities like Danville, cities like San Ramon, et cetera, in the area. So that was really a great moment, great event to attend as well. On the 27th was the Street Smarts Advisory Committee meeting. As Councilmember Adler mentioned, it was a multi-agency effort. Traffic safety education with San Ramon, Contra Costa County Unified School District, Danville, and San Ramon Valley Fire Protection District. They received several grants, $800,000 as well. A lot of the grant funding came from OBAG, which is one Bay Area Grant 3, which is from the Metropolitan Transit Committee. And that money comes from the Federal Highway Administration. And it was good to see that, about $800,000 in grant money to come to our Street Smarts program. And there's a bike rodeo and safety program that's coming up in fall 2025. They will announce dates in April. We'll bring that forward at the next meeting. And it's a fun-filled event. It's going to be held at the basketball courts next to Iron Horse Middle School, I think where they had it last year. They'll do helmet fitting and training exercises for a lot of the young folks. On February 27th, I attended the Library Foundation meeting, and that was budget was presented for fiscal year 2024, and we came out about $107,000 and $107,077.60 in cash positive, $167,077.60 in total assets. That's included our certificate deposits. So we came out cash positive for the year 2024. They also talked about the upcoming jazz program, which is our 5th concert here in San Ramon, which will be held December 13th at 3 p.m. More details to come. They will provide a link and a site soon. And also they wanted to announce the new 3D printer at the library. So if you get a chance to go to the San Juan Library, and you could submit your 3D printing, and we got to print out a business card holder, which was pretty cool. That was nice. And then attended the senior advisory committee, as Councilmember Adler mentioned. He showed me up by bringing pastries, but that's okay. Thank you. That was a great meeting, one of the first meetings that I attended, and I wanted to highlight this Encore magazine that they provide for their staff, and there is I didn't know this, but there's an AARP tax event every year where they give free tax services, not just to seniors in San Ramon, but to anybody. And that's held on Wednesdays by appointment only, goes through April 9th from 8:30 to 3 p.m. So if you have an opportunity, reach out to the Senior Citizens Advisory, the center on Alcosta, and inquire about that. I also attended the March 5th, this State of the City by Mayor Armstrong. And today we attended the Elora Coastal ribbon cutting, and I wish them all the best of luck and success in that area. And I'm sure they'll do great. They'll thrive over there. So, thank you, Mayor.
All right. Councilmember Rubio.
Okay, thank you. As was mentioned, so the first event I was able to join again after getting over the flu was the State of the City address. And as I will let the mayor cover some of the details, but overall, I mean, we survived a very difficult year, and you know, the mayor gave a very good summary of sort of a preliminary sort of overview of what we are going to expect, given that Measure N did pass. But of course, everything is still kind of rolling out, and we're still figuring it out as we go along. The other thing, same day on Wednesday, I also attended on my second class of the police community academy, where we got to do simulated traffic stops, of which I came to realize very quickly why I'm not in the police department. I would not be here today if that were the case. I made so many mistakes. Yeah, it's a good thing they're doing it, not me. Then on March 6th, Thursday, I went to the Contra Costa Mayor's Conference in Lafayette. David Swing from the East Bay Regional Communications Authority gave us a current status on public safety communications in the East Bay in the event of if we were to have an emergency event, how that would be handled. And then on the following day, on March 7th, I went to the County Connection Transit Authority meeting for the operations and scheduling, and we covered quite a bit. We talked about the Transit Intercity Rail capital program, which was just mentioned earlier, is a $15.9 million grant received to improve services, structure, and solar panels design. It's still in the design build phase. They're working closely with Caltrans on the design and construction. They are buying 6 hydrogen fuel buses that is being covered by the federal government. And they also have solar electric buses that are state funded. And a conservative timeline for rollout, they said it would be Q4 in 2027. That's our target date. In terms of the hydrogen fuel, they feel that that's a very promising lead because it can power the entire facility there in Concord. And they have a grant from Congressman Marc Desaulniers. And the other thing is they're able to work in collaboration with the water district, Contra Costa Water District, and share some of that cost in managing and maintaining a hydrogen fuel station there. They are looking to collaborate with other agencies and districts to continue to distribute the cost and risk of maintaining these stations. So that will be, I will keep you updated on that. And let's see. Just trying to stick to the important parts. They are considering talking with the school district again here in San Ramon, but that will be determined at our next meeting. And then afterwards, we also talked about improving signage to reduce confusion and integrating sort of like the transit between different authorities and making sure it's more seamless and understandable, not only by the drivers, but by the riders. So we talked about everything from having consistency across different colors to let people know how frequently that bus comes by. Is it every 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or hour? Making sure also, they also had Braille for, you know, people who need that accommodation. They also have a QR code where you can take a picture and get all the information automatically on your phone. They're considering also about 28 digital signs right now. But the concern they have with that, of course, is, you know, I mean, it is a wonderful technology, but you, as you know, with the more technology, the more cost to maintain and repair. So, you know, we'll see how that rolls out. They did talk about visibility issues. I mean, obviously, right now, some of the signs have a darker background, which works great at night during the day, but not so great at night. And there's been some complaints by drivers on that front. And then we covered a lot, by the way. I'm sorry. And then overall ridership has gone back to almost a pre-pandemic levels. 85% of service has been restored. They've also hired 6 new hires for operators. And they also have something kind of interesting I didn't know, but if they have like an if drivers are getting people there early sooner than expected, I guess there's like an incentivization program they have. But basically, and then we also talked about AVOs that were being tested out in Martinez. There's a demonstration project out there. They were pulled off the road because of insurance. But then TransDev, which is a labor contractor, has started digging for some insurance and found Lloyd's of London to provide umbrella insurance of all people. So that's how far they had to go to finally get insurance and umbrella insurance. Main Mobilities also is the owner of the AVs. They're storing and maintaining those AVs. So that's to be determined and still sort of a project unfolding in and of itself. And I think that's pretty much it for County Connection. And then, oh, and the only other thing is just for paratransit, I would say that, you know, they do have availability of discounted life, low income for programs for those who need it. Let's see, and then on same day, I actually did my ride along with Officer Gonzalez. So that was kind of interesting. I honestly, hats off again to them. I don't know how they work that late at night and still stay so alert and attentive, but he does it all. They all do it all. I don't know how he does it, like 5 things at one time. So very grateful for their service. And then on March 10th, the Senior Center Foundation meeting was really more focused around budget. You know, with, you know, as we start to consider restoring some of the services and things with the Measure N money, you know, and they also actually made some cutbacks in different areas and reallocated the money elsewhere. So they're not really asking so much for more necessarily, but they're reshuffling things and reprioritizing. But they also created a new category called repairs and replacements because their tables, believe it or not, are actually being held together by some tape in some areas, and it's just not very, they want improvements and updates on that front. And then they said in terms of their profit, they're going to make a bigger investment in just coffee and providing coffee and some amenities for like the weekly bingo because it has been such a success. and very profitable for them and really benefiting the community a lot every week. So I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Over to Vice Mayor Veros.
On Wednesday, 26th, I attended Tri-Valley Cities Council, which my fellow council members already covered the report. And then on 27th, Thursday, I had opportunity to attend our DoorDash demo. If you see autonomous vehicles that run within our city, as a technology and AI enthusiast, it was very exciting, and I'm looking forward for them to start their service hopefully in next 1 month. We may be able to get some of their door delivery services, especially for Doty Valley. That will be a very welcoming news. And then last week, I was under weather, so missed most of my meetings, missed our state of city by Mayor Armstrong. So I'll watch the video on YouTube. And then looking forward for our 15th annual Holi celebration, Sunday, March 23rd from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at City Center Bishop Ranch. So that's my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you all, and thank you for covering some of the stuff that I did, so I don't have to cover it. One of the meetings that I did attend was the League of California Cities, the East Bay Division meeting they had in San Leandro, and our very own Assembly member Rebecca Bauer-Cahan was there. They had a panel of state legislators. They gave some updates, answered some questions, but primarily talked about some of the bills that they're currently working on during this legislative session. Also attended the Chamber of Commerce roundtable session. They had the fire district. So basically the same presentation that we got here by the Chief Aguilar, Deputy Chief Aguilar. He gave that same, a very similar presentation to members of the Chamber of Commerce. That was on the 28th. And of course, this is a lot of scouting activities going on right now. So one of the events I attended was a blue and gold dinner and Arrow of Light and Bridging ceremony for PAC 1776 over at Coyote Creek Elementary School. This is the 115th year of Scouting in America. And it's just always great to see the Weeblo Scouts transition from Cub Scouts and do their bridging over and be accepted into one of the older Scout troops. So that was great. Another scouting event I attended was on the 2nd of March. That was an Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Christian Placati. He is from Troop 874. They're the troop that meets over at Pine Valley Middle School. Just interestingly, his brother was also an Eagle Scout, and his sister was a Girl Scout Gold Award winner. So it's quite an accomplished family there. But it was good to speak there at that event and talk about my own scouting journey. And my sons both were Eagle Scouts in Troop 874 as well, and I had a time to serve as an assistant scoutmaster there years ago as well. I'll go back just to amplify a little bit on the teen job fair. So we did have some of our parks and community staff folks there. They had a table set up, and teens could go through a lot of different organizations had tables set up where students could come in and ask about possible jobs and set up interviews and things like that. They also had classes on resume writing, as well as financial management and interview techniques. So it's always a great year, a great event, and just doing the mock interviews is a lot of fun. And I will say that some of them come in very nervous, and by the time they're done, they're pretty comfortable. It just, you kind of break the ice with them. Maybe it's the first time they've ever done an interview like that, but others come in, they know exactly what they want to do, and they're just rock solid. So you never know what you're going to get. On the 3rd of March, I attended the Street Smarts Be Real Video Award ceremony. This year's theme was Safety First, and I had the privilege of being able to present the first place winning award for high school, and also the 3rd place middle school video content creators. They got Amazon gift cards basically, but it was a great event, and we had some of our city staff there as part of that as well. And let's see, I attended the Contra Costa Transportation Authority Planning Committee meeting. Not much of it was related to San Ramon, although they did have a consent item that had a list of projects for the countywide bicycle and pedestrian plan. There are some San Ramon projects buried deep within that plan. Won't go into all of them, but there's some things that'll be working in this list of projects over the next year or years. And that's about it. Tomorrow I've got the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance Mayor's Panel. All the 5 mayors in the Tri-Valley are going to get together down at the Bankhead Theater in Livermore. We're going to talk about, there's a series of questions, and we'll answer all these questions and talk about our cities and challenges and goals and priorities, and kind of tie in all the nonprofit community to that. Another nonprofit event coming up later this week over at Bishop Ranch on Thursday is the Three Valleys Community Foundation. They're going to have their annual State of Giving. There'll be a couple hours worth of presentations, keynote speakers, and awards that they'll distribute at that event. And then on Friday, I've got the Innovation Tri-Valley monthly board meeting that I'll be attending. So, but with that, I think most of the other things have been covered. State of the city. I would just encourage everybody, as mentioned, it's on the website, our YouTube site. So if you didn't get to attend, go check it out. I think it's great that we're going to be able to, not that there's anything really brilliant that came out of it from my perspective, but I think it's good information for the public to be able to get access to that. And so thank you for putting that up on a website this year. Okay, and with that, that's all I've got, and I believe we have come to the end of the meeting. So we will adjourn this meeting until our next regular city council meeting. Thank you.